not separate, but we are one with Spirit. So if there's anybody in your minds at this current moment that you know in your heart could benefit from this peace and the silence that we are going to go into, I invite you to bring them in. Think of them as their highest and best. Not for their faults, but for who they truly are. As we breathe into this, we just know. And we take this time of silence and we become grateful and thankful for our lives today. And we rest in this knowing. As you bring your thoughts back to this room, I invite you to remember that peaceful feeling, if only for a second, that you felt. Remember that. Remember that time of silence is for a time of communion with God. It's this time that we find the grace and the peace that we so long for in our lives and in the lives of our loved ones. And we know this to be true, and so it is. Amen. Hello. So the mic isn't working?
Here.
Well, this is working. And I have a big mouth. I have a big mouth, and it just kind of goes out. See, I don't even need the mic.
Now.
It's working now. I wasn't working. That's what it was going on. So how are you this morning? Good? Good. Isn't it a great Sunday morning? Yes. It's nice and brisk. And come from down in the valley, it's beautiful in the mornings there too, but this is like a crisp, clean air, and I absolutely adore it. So thank you for letting me be here with you this morning. And I'm just gonna get dressed. All right. I'm gonna get spiritually dressed. Oh, hello. So this morning, so today's the last day that we're talking about the 11th power. Is that correct? On elimination and renunciation. And elimination is a faculty by which we release. We release that monkey mind chatter that might be going on in our brains. I used to call it release the stinking thinking, right? Because nothing going on up there is doing me any good if it's not making me happy. If it's not opening our hearts and allowing us to smile and to be the absolute best that we can be. Would you agree?
Yes.
Well, today's message is not going to be any different than probably what you've heard, maybe just said a little differently. It's the same idea. So I have a question for you. If I were to offer you this bottle of water, and in this bottle of water is everything that you need to feel young, vibrant, alive, healthy, free, and financially prosperous. How many of you would want to buy this bottle of water?
Oh, yeah, we'll take it.
How many of you would open this? Not only would you pay good money for this bottle of water, but you would open it and you would drink it. Show of hands. So why? So why, if we are willing to do this, because it's going to help our physical body, it's water.
Right on.
It's what I say it is, right? We put our faith and trust that our physical beings, that we are going to feel healthier, that we're going to feel better. Why is it that we would pay good money? And we all know what we do when we do a body cleanse, don't we? We all know the results of a body cleanse, and yet we're going to pay for it anyway. Why is it we're not going to take the time to do a mental cleanse? Why is it that when we are asked to cleanse our mind of past old beliefs that are no longer suiting us, that we say, wait, I don't want to do it? Why is it that we do that? I say because we're afraid of the truth. We're afraid of the truth and feeling, and that is a feeling of being threatened. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, facing the truth up front, rather than turning it and keeping it from our lives and moving forward, facing the truth up front is always easier. And yet, we will stop and go, no. Yet, we're going to pay for this bottle of water because it's going to detox our body, but we're not going to do the steps and the work that it takes to cleanse our minds. So most of us have this experience of being in possession of the truth. Just one little piece of truth, don't we? And that we are afraid to share because we know that it won't be received well. If we have this one, if I know something and I think you're not going to receive it, we sometimes become afraid, don't we, to share it? Yes. And that there are also instances in which we ourselves have been able to handle some of that truth, and that's confronting us. And that this small truth might be a small truth, such as not wanting to see that our cars need repairs. Like me driving up here, my car needs a lube oil tune-up or something. It needs help, but I don't see that, right? So we want to, because we don't want to pay for it, right? We know it's there. We know our car needs a little TLC, but we don't want to pay for it. Or a large truth, such as not fully accepting someone close to us is pushing us away. Usually the truth is evident and we can see it, but we choose to have elaborate ways of hiding the truth from ourselves, no matter how apparent it is. How many of you have found great big ways to hide the truth? My biggest way of doing it, how many of you do this? Oh my God, I love ice cream. I'm going to have some ice cream. We feed it with addictions, food addictions, relationship addictions, or may I say sex addiction for some. Gambling, we feed it. Instead of looking at it, we'll feed what's discomfort that's going on inside of us. And for the most part, we avoid the truth because it scares us. Or it makes us angry, or it makes us feel like we don't know what to do next. We often create our lives based on particular understanding, and that understanding turns out to be fully or partially incorrect. And now we may feel that our whole sense of reality is being threatened. It takes a strong person to face the truth in circumstances like these. And many of us have to run for cover instead. My cover is food. I run for cover with food. Nevertheless, we can only avoid the truth for long before it begins to make itself known we can only avoid the truth for so long before it begins to make itself known even more in forceful ways. Boy, I'm going to be lucky when this mouth stops stepping over. I'm stepping over my tongue.
You can run, but you can't.
I know. I keep trying to hide. I can't. Jeez. Woo. All right. Let's shake it off. Shake it off. Come on. I am the light of God. Together. I am the light of God. Woo. That feels better.
Yes.
I'm so glad that most of you know me and are just loving me right now.
You're loving me, right?
Thank you. And if you don't know me, you love me anyway. That's right. Ultimately, there is no way to avoid the truth, no matter how painful it is. And so the sooner that we let down our defenses, the better. And when we know the truth, we accept that we have to adjust our lives to accommodate. And we are in alignment with reality. And at the same time, we can be patient with the people around us who have hard times seeing the truth. Because we know that how painful it can be to not only us, but to them. Whatever the truth is, we make a sincere effort to not close our eyes to it, but instead be grateful, but we have access to it. So when relating to, that first part is about running from the truth, right? And if we're running from the truth, we're looking at what? What do you think we're looking at? Illusion. An illusion?
And fear.
Fear. So what's a good way to run from truth? Is it to focus on the negative? Ew, it just doesn't sound right to say that, does it?
No.
But that's what we do. Right? We always have a naysayer in our life, whether it's we're the naysayer or there's somebody else out there. They're going to focus on. Reverend Rogers was saying this the other Wednesday, and he says there's always that person that's going to point out for you, just in case you don't know what's wrong with you. Right?
Thank you, friend.
We all have that person in our life, don't we? If that's us, we get to look at that. And I'm going to give you steps on how to release that.
Good.
Yes. But when relating to the negative, we risk the danger of repression. Now, when negative thoughts arise, it is best to address them rather than pushing them down where they will surface again. When we push it down, unlike the song that we were singing earlier, our community song, that's a different push down, right? Yeah. But when we push down the negative just to make it go away, it's just going to resurface. And it's just going to raise its nice little head, and it's going to say, hello, I'm here. In case you forgot about me, I'm here. And it's going to come up at the most unopportune moment. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. So in Unity, one of our main focuses is the power of positive thinking. And that before we got there, many people, so people who come to Unity, many people have come to misinterpret the wisdom to mean that it's not okay to be in a bad mood or to have a negative thought or feeling. You ever known that? Oh, you guys just think of positive thinking all the time. I'm like, well, not really. We get to that place where we choose to focus on that, don't we?
Yes.
We don't focus on the original sin, we focus on the original blessing.
Amen.
It doesn't mean that we're not recognizing it and releasing it and letting it go. It just means that's not where our primary focus is going to be. That's not where we're going to take our attention and beliefs and hang on to that. That's what we get to learn here. So with this, it can lend to kind of superficial to our relationships with our life and our relationships with other people. It can also lead us to feel that if a negative thought or feeling comes up in ourselves or someone else, we must immediately block it out. Now, when we do this, we are engaging in the act of repressing a part of our lives that needs to be seen, needs to be heard, and it needs to be processed. So when we repress parts of ourselves, we don't go away as much, they don't go away as much as they get buried deep within us. And they often come out when we least expect it. And on the other hand, if we allow ourselves to be fully human, honoring our thoughts, our feelings, our moods, and the processes through us on any given day, we create a more conscious relationship with ourselves and others. Instead of blocking out thoughts and feelings that we label as negative, we simply observe them and let them go. They only get stopped when we react to them negatively, pushing them down and out of sight where they get logged into our unconscious minds. A healthier solution might be to develop a practice of following a negative thought we may have with a positive thought. This works well because positive thoughts are many times more powerful than negative thoughts. Right? So positive thoughts are more powerful than negative thoughts. Light always outshines the dark. Always. So rather than setting our minds up in such a way that we become fearful of the concept of our own consciousness, blocking out anything that is less than 100% on our side, 100% positive, we must resolve to develop a friendlier attitude towards ourselves, trusting in an inherent goodness, and we recognize our true inner worth. Right? So we recognize our true inner worth and the few dark passing clouds that might be hanging out in our minds, but they won't. When those clouds come, they won't intimidate us anymore, because we're grounding ourselves in something better. We're grounding ourselves in the positive. Again, we're not ignoring it. We're just not making it as prevalent and prevalent in our lives. We will see them for what they are, small, dark figures that are passing through an expansive sky of well-being and truth. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay, we're done. Just because it sounds good doesn't mean it's always good. So, but I can tell you that if you can walk through it, to give yourself enough to look for the peace in your life, to find faith, and to be strong and powerful, that your life will change. And those are the steps I want to talk to you about today. You know, today's the first day of Advent. I'm not sure if, but the first day of Advent is based off of faith. Okay? And so I thought, there's no way I can leave faith out. Well, I don't know that you can leave faith out of any good sermon, right? No. But I couldn't not have that a part of my life. But isn't it funny that in our Advent book, it talks about having faith is about releasing and letting go. That's having faith in something greater and bigger than ourselves means that we have to release and let go. And for me, I'm looking for peace. That when I'm all discombobulated up in my brain, you know, when I got that monkey mind chatter going on, that really I'm looking for peace. And I can't find my way out through that maze of my thoughts. You know, I can't find my way out. And so what I'm looking for is peace. And I'm looking for the ending the cycle. And that cycle ends today. For each day it offers us the opportunity to renew and resolve to the universe that we are ready for what? For change. I said it. Oh, we're ready for change. Change is so good. It's good when the cashier gives it to you, back to you, and when you pay for something. It's good when you want to make new and improve, or you want to make new improvements in your life. Change is good. If we looked at change as being good, just think how much easier it would actually be. Doesn't mean that we won't go through our little bumps, ups and downs. It just means that it would be easier, there'd be more peace about it. So one of the hardest things in life is feeling stuck in a situation. How many of you felt that way? A little stuck.
Have
Yes.
felt.
And that we don't want like it or want to change. And that we may have exhausted ourselves trying to figure out how to make change, and we may even have given up. However, each day it offers us an opportunity to renew and resolve ourselves and to declare to the universe that we are ready for change. Are you ready? Say this with me. All together. I am ready for change. Yes. Hang on. Strap in, because you know what's going to come, right?
Right.
What's going to come is what you think will come. What you think, good or bad, is the truth. So, we are ready for change. And then each day it offers us the opportunity to renew and resolve and to declare to the universe, again, that we are ready for change. That we may even say out loud that we have tried and struggled and had not found a way, that we are open to help, and that we intend to keep working to create change for ourselves. May just be the remedy. Making this declaration to the universe actually may be the remedy for the stagnation that we are experiencing in our lives, and that it can be done today, and it can be done right now. It is difficult to understand that even with hindsight, how the choices we have made have added up to our current situation, but it is a good idea to examine the story that we tell ourselves. Remember, that's about releasing, right? Releasing the old and creating a new. And that if we tend to regard ourselves as having failed, that this will block our ability to allow ourselves to succeed. How many of you spent most of your young adult life to succeed? That all you wanted to do was succeed in life. Whether that be in love, whether that be in finance, whether that be in our careers, whether that be I want to succeed just in passing that test. Oh, yeah. Amen to no more tests. Donna, I love you. And I'm just going to hold and bless you. Beautiful Annette just finished, right? She's done now too. And if I don't have to do another paper, I'd be a happy camper. But we just want to stay positive. We want to exhibit many positive qualities in our life, and that at our finest moment in our path, we want to celebrate that. Okay? And that when we do this kind of work and how we view our past, we make it possible for the future, and how we make it possible for the future to be based on a positive self-assessment. Because isn't that about change? That in order for us to change, somebody else can't change us for us. We have to do it. So we have to do self-assessments. And we have to look at that. In order for us to release and let go and to eliminate what's not working in our lives, we have to make a self-assessment. Would you agree?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. In Luke 6:38 it says, "Give and it will be given to you. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back." So we just say to the universe, yes, I am ready for change. Yes, I want peace in my life. Can you say that with me? Yes, I am ready for change. Yes, I want peace in my life. Here's a great one that you might want to take home with you, and its affirmation is, I'm willing to accept my good for peace. Ready? I am willing to accept my good for peace. Just feels better. Just feels better. So the next step is faith. That releasing guilt and giving permission to ourselves to forgive ourselves. Madeline Taylor says, dwelling in the guilt is like living your life and with an anchor tied to your ankles, dragging you down. It's pretty powerful, isn't it? Guilt will keep us from our freedom that we're looking for, the happiness that we're looking for. You might as guillotine. That's where they got the word guillotine from, wasn't it? Or they got the word guilt from guillotine. Same thing, right? Oh my God, that's horrible. I just thought of that just now. But it's about cutting ourselves off from life. If we look at it metaphorically, guilt cuts us off from life, from experiencing peace and prosperity and happiness and joy and looking at the birds in that very moment. Learning to accept the things that we perceive as wrong can be a difficult task for many of us. Often we have been brought up to accept that it is normal to feel guilty about our actions, and that by doing so we make everything seem all right within ourselves. Anybody can relate to that? Yes, I know I could. I grew up that way. Even though we might feel that we have a reason to make up for the choices we made, it is much more important that for us to learn how to deal with them in a healthy, positive way, such as through forgiveness and understanding. When we can look back at our past and really assess what has happened, we begin to realize that there are many dimensions to our actions. We may feel guilty. We might be feeling guilty. We might, oops. It doesn't always not have. It's not always good to have electronics.
Amen.
When your little finger right here moves, the whole thing moves with it. So, all right. Okay, we're moving. I can make it up as I go too, though. So, you want me to make it up as I go so I stop reading?
Yeah.
All right, so here's the bottom line, because we're going to cut short anyway. Having faith means that to trust in our ability to take one foot and place it in front of the other. Faith is about trusting in something that's bigger and greater than who you are. Faith is about knowing that that chair that you're sitting on is going to hold you, and it's going to comfort you to the best of its hard ability. It's going to comfort you, right? Faith is about being able to release and to let go. It's about digging in and grounding yourself in the faith and the principles of unity. If that's what calls to you, it's grounding yourself in whatever is good for you. I know that when I got to unity, it was the most powerful experience in the world. We were having that conversation earlier, and it was about feeling at home. That when I ground myself in faith, I knew that I would find the right place for me to feed me spiritually. The next thing that we can do, here I want to give this to you. I like this last statement. It says, when we give ourselves permission to feel peace of our past actions. Because when we're releasing and letting go, it's always about the past, isn't it? It's not about the present, because we wouldn't have to let it go. If something is getting us and raising our internal barometer up above 5, that's past. You need to look at that. That's past issues, right? But that when we give ourselves permission to feel the past with our past actions is one of the most positive steps that we can take in our life and feel free from regrets, disappointments, and guilt. That the more we are able to remind ourselves that the truth path is a peaceful mind and heart, it is through acceptance in every part of our lives and actions, the more harmony and inner joy we will experience in all aspects of our lives. In Matthew 9:22, it says, Jesus turned and seeing her, he said, "Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well." And instantly, the woman was made well. It's that quick. Snap. Let's all snap together. Snap. Ready? Snap. It's that quick. Come on now. Snap. Right? It is that quick. And then the last statement. Here's the affirmation for that. I release and forgive the past. Together.
I release and I forgive the past.
Strength. It's about starting new. It's about, in a moment of choice, that you can decide if your life is going to be better or it's not. Every life, to develop strength, we make better choices in our lives. And then when we make that choice, we accept that choice. This is the choice that I made in that moment. It doesn't mean that you can't change it and change it a different time. It just means for that moment I made that choice and this is what I'm going to live with. Would you agree?
I agree, yes.
And that when you make choices, don't you feel more powerful?
Absolutely.
When somebody else makes a choice for you, how do you feel about that? We were having that discussion earlier too. Please do not ever tell me what to do. As some of you might know that my brother lives with me and he still continuously tries to tell me what to do. And I said, Steve, I said, I divorced my ex-husband because he kept trying to tell me what to do. Why have you not met me? Stop telling me what to do. And what do I do? In an instant, what do? I make a choice and I tell him what to do. Can you relate to that? Is there somebody in your life right now that you might be telling them what to do? Are you giving them the ability to find strength and power in themselves if you're telling them what to do? There's a difference when you're guiding a child and you want them to be nurtured and make good choices in their lives, and you guide them. That's different. Just because the adult that's standing in front of you might be acting like a child doesn't mean that you have to make the choice for them. That you are taking away the gift that God has given them inherently, that inherent good, you're taking that from them when you make their choices. Give them their power back. Stand in your own power. Make better choices. Live as if today was your last day. Live as if this bottle of water was going to give you everything. Make that. Put in here. Put in the peace that you seek. Put in the faith that you ground yourself in. And remember that the power is what you make this to be. The power is in your choices. And I invite you to choose powerfully, to live fully, to release and begin anew. In Scripture it says, you may be made strong with all the strength that comes from His glorious power. So, as I end the service with you today, please affirm with me, my strength of spirit flows from God. Together, my strength of spirit flows from God. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.